Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Cosmic Compass. It is December 9th. I had to think about that. December 9th, 2024. So happy to see all of you. Thank you so much for joining. And for those of you that are listening later, I'm feeling your energy as well, and very happy to know that you're in the field with us today. So, as we always do, we will start with some breathing. Very important, re-regulating the nervous system, just basically dropping in, being here, being present. So yay. So if you will join me, and again, if you're not in a place where it's easy to join, that's totally fine. If you can just bring your awareness inwards. If you can't close your eyes, don't worry about it. And just coming into your body right now, really acknowledging the day that you're here. That is plenty. So depending on where you are, do or don't close your eyes, whatever's right for you. All right. So as we begin with the breathing, we're just going to bring awareness here into the space around us. You can close your eyes. You don't have to close your eyes, as I said, but bringing awareness around you, bringing awareness to your body. Take a moment to really feel the points of contact. You're sitting or standing, lying down. And we're just going to breathe very gently and easily and exhale. And on the next breath, we're going to breathe in, and you're going to go ahead and expand your belly as you breathe, welcoming the day, and exhaling when you're ready. And again, everything's an invitation. Feeling, if you will, the earth around you, the land where you are, honoring those who have come before, and taking a breath just in that honoring space, expanding your belly if you wish, feeling your shoulders relax a bit more, and exhaling when you're ready. So again, breathing in, feeling the support of the earth and all those who came before. As you breathe in, expanding your belly. On your exhale, bringing awareness to your jaw and your shoulders and bringing a sense of relaxation there. Your hips. And again, taking a breath, feeling the support beneath you, around you, breathing in and expanding the belly. On your exhale, relaxing as much as you can in the body where you are right now. And one more time, feeling that earth, feeling all those who have come before, all those that are here to support you in the highest and best way. And as you breathe in, feeling that support from the earth, from the ancestors, from those who are in the other realms, who guide. And as you exhale, as you relax the body just that much more, if there's anything you need to let go of today, let it drop away. And you can pick it up later if you want to, or you can just let it drop away all the way to the earth. One more breath, expanding the belly, really filling your chest, filling it a little more. And then exhaling when you're ready. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me. And when you're ready, you can come right back in. Today's Cosmic Compass will be a little bit shorter just to give us all a little breathing space, but we are going to talk a little astrology today. We do have a beautiful full moon coming up. And so I wanted to just quickly share a little bit. And, as we move toward the full moon, as we move through the rest of this week, essentially, because the full moon is not until Sunday, I think. Let me double check. Yeah, it's not till Sunday morning here in this time zone, Pacific time. So as we move toward this full moon, remembering that we're still in the new moon in Sagittarius energy. Okay, so the lunar months, they help us move through, I think, with some more ease. We do have Mercury retrograde right now, and we have Mars retrograde right now, and we have a few other things going on. But there is this wonderful opportunity to slow down. And I say that knowing full well that most of us don't. But it is definitely a good time to take a breath, do some journaling if that is something that calls to you, pull some cards, which I will do for us, and review. So I have found myself, and I think this is very much a late end of year Mercury retrograde, reviewing the year. And because it's still Sagittarius season, one of the things that I've come up with is, despite the challenges of the year, and it's actually really good to review everything, all of them, because you want to be like, I'm still here. I'm still here. So you can review the challenges too. But I thought for myself, I want to put together a retrospective just for myself, not for anybody else, of pictures and things from the year that are meaningful. I've never done that before, but there's something about this year calling to me to kind of just remember, where have I been? What have I been engaging in? Where has my energy been this year? And it has actually been a lot of places, but I actually mean that like in other ways as well. Pictures are one way to do that. And for those of you that have done the Wheel of the Year Tea and Tarot with me in the past, looking back at the tarot cards that I pulled for each month, that's a really interesting perspective. And some of us engage in that monthly, which is very cool. And there's an element, I think, of this time right now as we move toward the full moon that we might, and again, this is entirely up to you because it's all, what feels right for you. Just quickly, you could write just a list of the months and just, what do you remember? Just really quickly. I honestly, I'm not sure I can remember January, February, March, but I'd probably have to look at my Google Calendar. But the truth of the matter is, maybe I make it up and then go back and look at my Google Calendar, but just kind of keep it going, right? Some of us did envision boards last year, and those are really good to look back at. This is not the greatest grammar, but those are very good to look at this time of year, just to see how did that vision board, and again, a vision board is different than a planning vision board. And a vision board is just allowing the soul to speak. So it's really good. What did my soul want to say? So as we keep moving toward the end of the year, and it's a calendar year, I recognize there are other New Year's that I celebrate that come at different times of the year, but it's just a great time to do it. So I know that you're here because you got my email. So you already know that Jenna and I have our tea and tarot on January 11th. What I haven't put out yet is that Kristen Polika of Palo Alto Reiki has her vision board. I think the online one is the Friday night before the tea and tarot, but I will put that in a follow-up email. And I just wanted to say that this is just one way to start a year. And I've done many different things over the years. love it. And tea and tarot has been around a long, long time. I used to do it in person at my house in Santa Cruz and loved it. So, but then things shifted, right? And I had met Jenna and she was studying with me, and we decided, let's do our Instagram tea and tarot. So we did that for a while during the first part of COVID. And then it evolved into the Wheel of the Year, which I just love. So that again will be in January, but it's good to look back. And now's a really good time to look back and review. Okay. I will just give you one little tidbit about this coming full moon. When it's in Gemini, which is where it is going to be, there's a lot of curiosity. And I'd say really stay curious in your life. Stay curious, stay curious, stay curious. There's a lot of mental energy with that kind of full moon. And whatever is surfacing, particularly because we're in the retrogrades, right? Particularly Mercury retrograde. I'm going to stay curious about this. Okay. And one last little tidbit. I've noticed just a teeny weeny bit. Could be the holidays, could be the end of the year, could be the retrogrades. But there seems to be people from the past surfacing in different ways. Whether it's in our own minds, our memories, or actually in our lives. So if that is the case, be curious. Why is this? What is this showing me? What is this about? How am I going to work with this? So anyway, lots to do with the beautiful astrology of the week, and that's just a tiny little tidbit, but just enough, I think, to get us going on a Monday, right? Because what I really want to do is pull some cards. I'm finding that the cards have been really supportive, and for those of you that know me, you already know this, but cards, obviously they have meanings, but I am a firm believer, as you all know, that we go with what we feel first. What do I notice? What do I see? What do I feel? And then we look at the meaning behind them. As I've been working through this week, this last week in particular, I noticed that I was working with a lot of people on the other side, people who had passed in people's lives. And that's been a theme of late, where people have been passing, or the anniversary of a passing. And so I've had this beautiful experience. And I'm very fortunate to have had these experiences for a long time, but particularly this week of souls just reminding us that we're here, and what can we do while we're here? Like, what can I do? I'm here right now. I'm on this earth. What can I do? And there's a lot of support on the other side for that, for each of us. And the cards in some traditions are our ancestors speaking to us, and they use the cards as a way to get messages through. Okay. I generally open it up to the cosmic guides. And at the same time, I'm very aware that if I focus in and I say, okay, what is mine to know? What is something that my ancestors want me to focus in on? That will come. So I'm going to do a little of both this morning. I'm going to ask my ancestors to guide, and I'm going to ask your ancestors to be with you so that if something comes through, you'll know. I'm going to start with a Druid animal oracle. And I've always known about the Druids. I didn't really know too much until maybe the last 10 or 15 years. Well, no, that's not entirely true. I guess, gosh, it's almost been 20 years. Time, whatever. But I have a very fractured family system, and I was not aware of, a lot of family history and so forth. But there was in December of 2006, maybe, I received an email from my father who I hadn't heard from in probably 20 years. And in that email, he mentioned something about being descendants of the Druids and talking a little bit more about some family history, some medical family history, which was, I guess, good to know. And then some other things that were coming up. And that was sort of a affirmation for me, like, oh, I always knew that this was in here. So we don't always get the affirmation. We don't always know, but it was really nice to get that affirmation. It turned out he ended up dying the next day, unexpectedly. And I hadn't responded because obviously we had been out of contact for so long. So I was sitting with it, right? I was sitting with that. But I was really grateful that for whatever reason, he chose that moment on that day to share that little tidbit of ancestry with me. So even if you don't know, you can borrow mine. You can borrow my ancestors today. And we're going to drop into this Druid Animal Oracle. Okay. And again, whatever, as I've learned from spending a lot of time on the other side, things are very different on the other side. They will present to me like how we see things, but they're very different. So there's just this vastness of so many different kinds of love and understanding that these words mean nothing really. The English language cannot even connect with that. But when we tap in, the energy that has been our ancestors is there for us to call upon. So that's how I'm going to say it. All right. Enough of that. We'll move right into the magic here. So I'm asking for cosmic guides, the support of our ancestors, those that came before, for support during this week. And this is stuff I'll say inside before I normally pull the cards, but I figured we might as well do it out loud today. And I'm going to ask for this animal oracle to guide us through the week into the full moon. All right. So let's see what it is. Big surprise. It is the bear. This has so much symbolism, particularly as we head toward the solstice, which we'll have one more cosmic compass before the solstice, but this is a beautiful card. I'll put more in the follow-up in the email, but what I'd really like for you to do, what do you see? What do you notice? How do you feel? Just take that in. You're welcome to put anything in the chat if you feel so inclined. Just being with the energy of the card. Sometimes because of the way I've got it angled, I can only see the bottom part. So am I really drawn to things I might not have seen otherwise? It's fun to look at it. I think also too, just being on the screen, it helps it actually magnifies it a bit. All right, so the bear. And there's, see, I just saw that for the first time. There's Ursa Major, the constellation in the background there. I don't know if you could see it because I'm trying very hard to get it to, there we go. Yeah, here it is. And we can look up in the sky. I've been following the constellations a lot this season. That's been a good learning for me. I really am appreciating that question in the chat. Yes, with the scepter and the crown, what's going on there? Did she consume someone? I actually think that bears are they vegetarian? Is that do they just eat? No, they're omnivores. They eat everything. Okay, well, we'll find out. Very exciting. Omnivore, see? At least I know the word. May not know that a bear is an omnivore, but you know, that could explain why we have all these bear warnings. Oh yeah, right, because they do. Yeah. We have bear warnings here. Not at my house, but in the town next door where we walk up in the woods. I guess I should pay more attention. Okay. All right. That we'll do that. Our omnivore. Actually, and I did read this the other day actually about bears. Did anyone else see I think it was on TikTok. I don't have TikTok. I think it was on TikTok originally, but I think it showed up on Instagram. The Yellowstone bear that was going into hibernation. They had a Yellowstone bear cam, and they were showing her going into her den and like pulling all of the stuff in, like she'd gotten it ready, and then she's sliding back into her den and pulling it all in. It was really cool. But I did learn that bears do a form of hibernation. I don't know. This hibernation thing, it just blows my mind. So those of you that are scientists and biologists and zoologists, if you could explain to me how this works. I mean, obviously I know how it works. That, everything, the body temperature, everything goes down a little bit, but yeah. Anyway, that bears have a form, the Yellowstone bear anyway, has a form of hibernation, but it's not a full hibernation, whatever that means. So anyway, we can learn a lot. There's learning to be had from that. So that was really fun. Okay. So if you're ready, we'll go into the next deck, which is the Light Seers Tarot. And we will, in fact, begin with the first card being, we're ready from our guides and our ancestors. A return of the king, which is interesting when you get the whole meaning with the solstice and the little card that we just pulled. Okay. We had this card before, King of Wands. So once again, I would love for you to just, what do you feel? What do you notice? How is this card of energy and creativity and life force? How is this speaking to you today? What are you noticing? Okay, it's our first card of this deck. There's a crown in this one too. I'm just noticing it for the first time. I always just saw the flames, but here, let me see if I can get it to come into focus. So now we have two crowns. Fascinating. Okay. Wow. Okay, we have another wands. This life force energy is strong. We've been getting wands a lot. Okay. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Eight of Wands. You'll notice a little fire on the end of all the wands. Obviously, wands represents the element of fire. This is not a big surprise to you, I think, at this point. Creativity, life force, energy. So, Eight of Wands. This one is a good card for just letting it speak to you. You can use some of the imagery, of course, but it's really more like, what do I feel when I see this card? What do I feel? Okay, life force energy, creative energy, power. We've been talking a lot in our different groups about different power models and how with Pluto and Aquarius and some of the other shifts that were happening, I talked about this in the 2025 preview, moving from a power over model to a power with, which actually is moving back to a more matriarchal model, power with. But again, power, the wands represent a lot of power coming from up from within. All right, our third card for today. Interesting. All right. Not my favorite card, I'll be honest, but here it is. Three of Swords. Okay. Now, it's a pretty menacing looking card, but there is actually some really powerful messages with this card. I think you can kind of see, she's done a good job of the trying to show it visually. Again, a brilliant artist, right? Not the easiest card to look at, I recognize, but I do think that it's important to acknowledge what's here, right? So swords are the mental realm. Swords represent, obviously they have a lot of energy, but it's a different kind of energy. It's a mental energy. This is a creative energy. Um, there's there is clearly, at least in my experience of this time, there's a lot of heartbreak, right? There's a lot of heartbreak. So I think it's important to acknowledge that and to utilize these cards along with this card to move through what's really happening, right? There's a lot of support here and there's a lot of recognition. That's how I read these cards. For those of you that wonder, do I think, oh, is this like past, present, future? Like a lot of people will pull cards like past, present, future. I don't pull the cards that way. When I pull them, they're guidance for the week. So they're kind of all equal and they could be moved around. When I do other kinds of tarot readings, obviously I do them in a certain way, but this is just guidance for the week. So being able to acknowledge what this is and utilizing the energy from these two as support seems really important to me, particularly because I can't really say too much about this, but just some of the emails I've already received this morning, before 10 a.m., right? Acknowledge this and utilize this and tune into this, right? Like it's really important to do the acknowledgement of the heartbreak. So as we move through the week, and again, these are just for this week, what are we going to do to cultivate our energy? What are we going to do to acknowledge heartbreak, whatever that might be? And what is on the other side of that, which is really what she focuses on in her booklet with the affirmation, the strength and resiliency, the shifting, the change. But how do we want to move through the week? We want to cultivate our energy and we want to honor the protection that comes through the bear. And I'm going to go with guidance protection from the lion too. I mean, we've got this lion and a bear. I was going to pull a different animal deck, but the druid one really wanted to come and play today. So, but we did get two really powerful animals, so that's awesome. And I'm very excited to bring forth the energy of the Eight of Wands. And for those of you, again, just, what do you see? What do you feel? What do you notice? For me, there's a lot of sparkles in there. I like the sparkles. And what are we going to do with those? Okay. So lots to work with this week. And I'm just going to check the chat. Oh, I love this reflection of the winter. It's winter, it's night. There's been a battle, but she walks through unafraid. I love that. Love, love, love. It's excellent. So again, I love what you're seeing. I love what you're feeling. And I think also too, just because I have a little extra time, maybe another minute or so, what I'd like to say is that each of you, as you're listening and watching, you have knowledge of what it takes to take care of yourself, re-regulate yourself, If you don't have the capacity to give to others right now because you're going through something yourself, that's okay. Take care of you, right? Take care of yourself. If you do have the capacity to give to others in some form, please do, right? And as we move through this week toward the full moon, remember to stay curious. Remember to stay curious. And remember, with the Sagittarius lunar cycle, there is this element of possibility. And we don't always feel it, particularly if we're going through something challenging, but there is always more. There are always other possibilities. And sometimes they don't surface right away, but they're there. And so that's something that we take with us into Sagittarius season, because the seasons bring different things, and Sagittarius energy is very different from what comes before, which is the Scorpio, and what comes after, which is the Capricorn. So the mystery and the magic and the intuition and the shadows of the Scorpio. And then when we move into Capricorn, it's a little more serious, it's a little more commitment, a little more devotion, a little more focus. So right now, what are the possibilities for more joy? That would be something I would suggest for the lunar month of Sagittarius. And as we move, be curious. Just be curious. Just be curious. All right. I know that there's always more to say, but I'm going to make this a short one today. Next week, I will have a beautiful guest with me, and then I will actually do Cosmic Compass a couple days before Christmas and a couple days after the solstice. So we'll keep going through this month. And again, please remember to, if you can, move a little more slowly, or at least a little more gently with yourself as you go through the week, okay? There's a lot of energy out there. I appreciate all of you too. Mwah. I'll see all of you soon. I hope. Some way. Bye. Bye.